Whenever you're ready, sir, you can go ahead and begin.
When Jesus died for us, that was Him showing us grace for forgiving all of our sins. And I'm going to tell you today why that is important for our everyday lives, to not take it for granted. Grace to believers and unbelievers is the same no matter what. And I'm also going to tell you about the prophet Isaiah, where my main verse is coming from, which is Isaiah 53:5, which is, "But he was wounded for our transgressions, he was crushed for our iniquities. Upon him was the chastisement that brought us peace, and with his stripes we are healed." Jesus was like a sheep being offered for our sins. God sent His Son, Jesus Christ, to die for all of us so that we might be saved. And that's just one showing of grace. But another one is when the earth was first being created, there was a lot of sin Jesus saw a lot of sin, and He was going to wipe out the earth. And Noah convinced him not to, and Jesus told him to create or make a boat, an ark, and certain dimensions, and to put one animal of every species and family to eventually multiply the earth again. And as you all know, there was a flood, and the people on the ark survived, and the animals. And that's another representation of Jesus showing us grace. The prophet Isaiah was one of the greatest in paragraph 1. He lived in Jerusalem. He married a prophetess and had 2 sons. When he wrote the book of Isaiah, it was around 500 BC when Jews were being crucified in Babylon, which is now present-day Iraq, in paragraph 3. Telling unbelievers about grace. Believers sin every day, just like everybody. And for unbelievers, say you're late to work and your boss doesn't fire you right away. He gives you a second chance to improve yourself. That's Him showing you grace for what you did wrong, and so you can improve on that. And that's the same way for Jesus. He shows us grace in our everyday lives. A couple other examples I'm going to tell you is from 1 Corinthians 15:3. That Christ died for our sins accordance with the Scriptures. Also from Ephesians 5:2. He gave Himself up for us, a fragrant offering and sacrifice to God. And also another verse from the Bible. He Himself bore our sins in His body on the tree, that we might die to sin and live to righteousness. By His wounds you have been healed, for you were strayed like sheep, and have now returned to the shepherd and overseer of our souls. You might refer to your handout now. This is also another cross-reference that I did. Hebrews 9:28. Christ, having been offered once to bear the sins of many, all of us, will appear a second time, not to deal with sin, but to save those who are eagerly waiting for Him. So Jesus is going to come again, which is exciting. Now I'm going to show you a video of what Jesus might have went through. This is the Passion of Christ trailer, which was produced by Mel Gibson. there. For unbelievers, there's still forgiveness in the Lord. No matter, there's no too much sin. There's no not forgiveness from the Lord. There will always be forgiveness because Jesus died for our sins.
Thank you very much. Let's give him a round of applause. Thank you very much.